Hi, this is Randall with Carter Hill Honeybees. Today is Monday, March the 29th, 2021, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Got a surprise hanging here on this limb, a nice little swarm. Settled right here next to one of my little swarm lures. But here, this right here is another advantage to not cutting limbs. This is probably, I would imagine, at least a 10th swarm I've caught from this very spot in the last 5 or 6 years. They don't get much easier than this one right here. I'm going to use the scoop and score bucket. So this is a pretty decent little swarm. I'm going to start it out in a 10 frame box and let it get going. And then I may put it down in a nuke. I'll just have to see how the brood pattern is, but I'm definitely going to put it right into my bee production line. I want to weed that colony's genetics out. It likes to swarm early and often, and that's not what I want in my production yards. But I am going to take advantage of it this year and use it to make bees as I try to build my numbers throughout the summer. So let me put my veil on, and I'm going to shake them down in my scoop and score mesh bucket and gently pour them in the hive, and this should be pretty easy and pretty straightforward. I just hope I don't get stung on the arms. Yeah, I like the lost balance. So again, I can show you how nice and calm and content the bees are in here. I'm actually kind of looking for the queen. So this is a much easier catch than the one I made the day before yesterday using my pole. These bees is pretty calm. I can actually smell the nasing off now, so it smells great. The way they're getting spread out, I should be able to see the queen in here, but I haven't saw her yet. Well, I'm going to gently ease them in here. Now, I do like to get just a little bit fanning on the entrance here. So I usually pour a little bit out there. Now, these bees is really pretty gentle. They've not tried to sting me at all, so that's good. I like swarms like that. I don't like getting tore up. Well, I didn't see the queen. You notice some of the bees fell on the combs from the outside, and they're fanning on it. They're already drawn to the smell. I got some dark brood combs to put in here for them, help them get started right away. Now I do want to kind of look, make sure the queen's not on there. Don't want to roll her up. So this is a pretty nice sight right here, seeing all this fanning. I can hear the roaring in here. It's almost like the bees are just thankful to have this home. Maybe they hadn't found nothing yet or whatever. But that's about as easy to catch as you'll ever get right there. So I'll come back in about 20-30 minutes, and once most of the bees has got in there and got up on the combs, put my queen excluder under there, and they'll be good to go. I like these 2-minute catches. Now the reason I like to put a few, probably a couple hundred bees out there at the entrance, they go to fanning and blowing that nasal pheromone up in the air, and I feel like it's really pretty important. I can tell the difference. It draws the bees that are flying around still, it draws them down pretty quick. Well, today you can see it real well. So notice how content the bees are at the entrance. They're fanning. I believe the queen is in there. I'm not seeing her anywhere up on the limb at all. And it's actually face high to me, to the limb, and I'm looking all around and I don't see her anywhere up here. You see how the bees are content down there, and then right here I'm looking at the limb. You see how the bees are running about. You can tell they're starting to get stressed out there. They've lost contact with their queen, and they're starting to hunt for her. So it'll be just a matter of minutes before they start departing off of there and looking for her. And then that's when they'll find their way down to the box, and those bees I got out there fanning, that'll help them find their way quicker. But if you learn to recognize these two different situations, it's really helpful when you're trying to catch an aggravating swarm. Sometimes you're not sure if you got the queen, and a lot of times it's hard to find a queen in a swarm. Sometimes you find it pretty easy, sometimes you don't. But clearly a difference there in their attitude. The queen obviously is not on that limb. And then look back down at the box. Totally different situation. Now if the queen's not in the box, you're going to see the opposite situation. You'll see these bees calm and content, and then you'll see this down at the entrance. They'll be running in and out, and eventually they'll start coming out, maybe a few at a time, or they'll come out of there sometimes just like a swarm issuing out of a normal colony. But you'll see the numbers grow on the limb if the queens is still up there. And here you see the numbers, as we're watching it here, the numbers are gradually going down. And the bees they're working their way down to the box, and they're finding out where they need to be. So I'm hoping this part here will be, since it was so low to the ground, I'm hoping this will be a lot better detail and easier to recognize this situation in a swarm of bees, because this is really beneficial to be able to recognize this. So I'm going to pause it here for a little bit and let this kind of settle down. We'll come back in a few minutes and put our queen excluder in. Well, it's been about 15 minutes. Still looking good at the hive entrance. But up here at the limb, all the bees are gone. They're down in the box. Just a couple flying around up there. So that's a successful capture right there. And if you want to know what that black thing is, it's just a lure I made. I made a video on it back in February, one of my first videos. That's simply just some black vinyl screen, and I got 3 pine cones inside of it, and I got it tied together. And also inside of it there's a Ziploc plastic bag with a cotton ball inside of it, and it's got a couple drops of lemongrass oil on it. And that'll usually last 2 or 3 weeks out in the elements, then I have to replenish it. But I've had pretty good luck with those. You're getting, it's not 100%, but I do get swarms that settle on it fairly regular. I think it's worth the effort to put them up for sure. Alright, it's been 25 or 30 minutes since I first hived the swarm. So I'm fixing to begin the process of securing it, putting the queen excluder underneath it on top of the bottom board. I forgot to tape up my auger hole, so I'm going to have to take care of that right quick. got to make sure the queen cannot get back out. So I'm going to set my lid over, move my box over, put my strap underneath where I can strap all this together. I'm also going to look carefully for the queen. And I don't see her down there, so that's good. Usually the queen's going to get up in the box on the combs pretty quick. I don't know if I've ever even seen her down here when I've caught a swarm, you know, after waiting a little while. I'm pretty confident she's going to be up in there on the sidewall or wherever the biggest cluster of bees is. Now I'm going to ease my excluder on here and try not to mash any bees. Gently set my box back up here. Make sure it's on good and square. Secure all this together with the ratchet strap. This makes the whole thing a lot easier to move. Now, it's supposed to be pretty cool tonight, and I'm just going to leave this here to dark, and then I'm going to come back and move it. I got one empty stand open over there on the wall, and that's where I'm going to set it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this easy swarm capture. I wish they was all this easy. I'm sure the rest of you do. But thank you for joining me for this. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.